Welcome out, ladies and gentlemen, to this RGL.GG semi-finals matchup. Two teams, one match away from the grand finals, fighting it out for a $3,000 prize pool. Velocity Esports had a slow start to the season, but have really turned it on to the end, dominating in fashion in this last playoff round. Feint Gaming looked not like themselves against Wiethoofd, throwing it even in the final stages, just being completely decimated. I'll be curious to see which team will be able to pick it up. Will Feint Gaming be able to bounce back and take themselves into the grand finals, or will Velocity Gaming be able to continue their story of getting back to the grand finals 3 seasons in a row? That is what we will find out tonight. I am sigafoo, joined out here with VoxDei to my side and nicely behind the scenes. How you doing out here, VoxDei?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. I'm looking at these two rosters. They're players on either side that I'm really fond of and really excited to see kind of go at it. I think it's going to be a good old-fashioned slugfest between the two.
Yeah, and we'll find out real quick as we do that, as we always do. Let's jump out to pick bands here right away. I've been told that those teams have already started up, and they are continuing. They're flying down there as we're about halfway through and early on. And what are you seeing out here out of these picks early on, Vox?
So Feint Gaming banning the Razorback, I think, is a smart move. Andrew is a sniper susceptible to spies, so that might be a good pick out of them. But then the Big Earner also getting banned by Velocity right after. So, I mean, maybe a way to keep Demento in check if he starts going off against Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, definitely you want to be focusing down that. Taking away the sandwich, obviously that's going to be a mainstay for Carl. I wouldn't be surprised, I'd kind of be tempted to go for the second banana as well. Just take away, I guess there's still the chocolate bar. There's a lot of different heavy weapons to be able to do this, but very fast and furious through this. Saving the Gunslinger, which is kind of surprising from Velocity, as they don't typically run an Engineer. Obviously, Feint Gaming going for the 2 Pyro saves, and then finishing up, taking away the Wrangler and Deadringer. Detner being taken away from Feint Gaming in the Diamondback as well. So you can see for Velocity, their 2 main focuses, and probably throughout the rest of this best of 3, are going to be on the Pyro and Spy, whereas Feint Gaming is kind of putting it all where else, where it's Sniper, Heavy, Engineer, and Spy. So a little bit all over the place for Feint Gaming, trying to dip their hand in a little bit of every class.
Yeah, and one smart thing I think I see out of Feint Gaming too is kind of their reaction ban. So they see the Gunslinger get saved and like, yeah, maybe we probably don't want to have to deal with a mini sentry in the shutter that's going to be wrangled out, shooting at our medic all the time or something like that. So they ban the Wrangler right after, and that's going to make the Gunslinger less viable. Of course, if they choose to build the level 3, it'll even be less viable as well. But then also Velocity with a smart save on the Darwins to, the fact that they know that BM and Demento were going to be harassing Andrew as much as humanly possible. The fact that they're managed to ban some of BM's weapons, as you mentioned, and make sure that Andrew has that extra lifeline of the Darwins to try to stay alive.
Well, I can imagine too, fly back to the last time these teams met. It was actually in the first week, and it was a pretty big upset as Feint Gaming I wouldn't say dominate over Velocity Esports, but looked fantastic on Badwater. And one of the things that Feint Gaming used really well was actually the flog. I believe there was even a moment where BM for Feint Gaming actually ended up getting like a 3K or like a 4K off of the flog, pushing into the final point. So I'm guessing we're going to see the flog first ban. I would not be surprised if we see, almost these same bans every time out from Velocity, as I think this is going to be the main culprit. It's really going to be up to Feint Gaming to make them have to do something different. It's going to be up to Feint Gaming to have to play in such a style that Velocity is going to have to maybe mix up the bans and maybe find some success with. But overall, I definitely think Velocity came in with a very structured way in which they went about this. I might have gone a little bit heavier, for Feint Gaming. I might have gone a little bit heavier after the heavy, of all things, just because Carl's gonna be playing it all the time. So taking down the sandwich, maybe taking out like the Tomislav or something along those lines. Just anything that you might see the heavy use. But I guess we'll kind of remain to be seen about what they actually want to be banning, because I guess they can just wait to see how Carl is going to be playing tonight. And it's going to be kind of mimicked, because the first map is going to be Coal Plant, the second map is going to be Product. So, it's going to be kind of curious to see what kind of bans and saves change from the first map to the second, since they are both Koth maps, kind of similar. If we're going to see any kind of responses in kind from, if any player kind of has success with a certain unlock.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's going to be something to look out for. I think for the most part, things will stay around the same, but there might just be like that one weapon that they get absolutely that gets abused during coal plant. They're like, oh man, we really need to make sure that gets out of there on product. I mean, and the thing that makes it tricky too is you probably want to use that as one of your first bans, and then all of a sudden you don't realize it, but the Razorback sneaks through or something like that. So you really do have to kind of think a couple steps ahead when you're making the bans, especially going into a second map, about, well, what are we willing to give up in order to make sure that X weapon doesn't make the cut.
We do have 14 players live in server, so we should be going soon, not too long from now. But exactly to what you're saying is, it's going to be curious to see as this match goes along, how do these teams kind of go about, and this is a map which I think favors Feint Gaming a little bit more, at least more so than inside the product matches, because this is a map that it's so easy to get flank routes on. It's so easy to get behind the scenes versus product, where you kind of have concrete, but even to go through concrete, you're kind of going through sniper sight lines. The enemy team can see you and easily spam you out, where on this map it's like you can go up, over, you can go underneath. Like there's a lot of different routes you can go on to kind of create interesting gameplay pushes, and a lot more. This one in particular plays a lot more around your flank classes than anything else. But before we kind of get going here, we can talk a little bit about these rosters as we do every week, and it's always so much to say. But I can talk a little bit about Feint Gaming here, as they have 700 teams. I thought they were went live, but they did not yet in real time. But on Feint Gaming, we have Demento, who is going to be playing Spy. It was a potential that they might have switched it up to Fallen, but looks like they've opted to keep Demento on there, who's struggled last week against Froyotech. He had a lot of improperly timed stabs, just wasn't able to kind of get on his rhythm. Demento is like one of those spies. When he's on fire, like, to watch out. He is so deadly. But when he's off, I think he gets a little bit tilted, and he has to just work on himself and with that, and to make sure that he doesn't get tilted, he keeps his timing, because I've played against him, and he is just such a good spy. I have a lot of respect for him, and I'm kind of curious to see what he'll be able to do tonight. BM's going to be playing Pyro Dingus on Soldier Bull, a very fantastic demo man who is up and coming. Elto on Medic, very good Medic, but though sometimes be a little bit too forward with his team. Wish, who's going to be playing Scout, and Watterson on Sniper, who is a little bit hit and miss when it comes to sniping. Sometimes can do really fantastic, and other times he'll be at the bottom of the board. Who do we got on Velocity? Yeah, Vox.
Yeah, so for Velocity, we're going to have Jarrett on demo. I think he's another player that can get hot and cold. You can see him putting up almost 500 DPM, and then Velocity actually tends to really struggle when he's not able to get going. So, we might see if Feint Gaming come out with the idea of, cut off the head and then the body will die. You got Carl over on Heavy, and everyone should know that name by now. Andrew on Sniper. He's another player. I think usually he's a little bit more consistent, but he has those days of just pure utter dominance that, like, no matter who you throw in the server, he can't be beat. And those days where he's a little bit more mortal. So I think Feint Game are going to be hoping he's in one of the latter days. Bobby on Soldier, Skis on Medic, Mr. Pop It Don't Drop It himself, and Vipa probably switching things up mostly on Spy, maybe see him swap to Engineer every once in a while in Pyro, and then Corsa is going to be picking up the Scout duties, which is very scary to think about.
Yeah, Corsa, he has played in the league in the past. I believe he's actually played he played all the time in Season 1. He played just in the playoffs for Season 2, but he's played it as a sniper, so I'm kind of curious to see how well he'll do on Scout. Obviously, he is a fantastic Scout, and starting out on Koth maps is probably going to be beneficial to him, but I don't know how much, he has in terms of playtime with teams, when he's going up against Heavies, going up against Pyros, going against Classes. So we'll see. We are live in real time, so in about 60 seconds we'll be seeing the shutters go down, teams going to the respawn, and we'll get to our first mid fight on coal plant. So this is a best of 3 map series. This is the semi-finals. The winner will go on to play Tech in the grand finals. They're playing for $3,000 prize pool. So a lot of money grabs, and I'm sure both of these teams are rearing to go. As we get ready to go live here, Vox, what do you have any predictions for tonight?
I think that Faint Gaming need to take Coal Plant if they're going to have a chance in this best of 3. So I'm going to say they're going to play their hearts out. They had such a great game earlier in the season against Froyo Tech on this very map. So I'm going to give this one to them just because I know they're going to be fighting for their lives. 3-2, though, for them.
That's going to be a close one. I'm going to give it to Velocity. I think Velocity is going to go 2-0 in this series, but it's going to be a tight one, as you said. It's just a question, I guess we're going to find out early on, is whether or not Faint Gaming is going to be able to get out of their heads and have some fantastic play, as Bull has some fantastic play early out to this mid-fight. A little bit of damage down on team. It's actually everybody for Velocity is coming out here early. Of course, the Substitute is the first one to go down here early on, as a slow fight across the point is trying to work itself out. As 2 are down for Velocity, but Bull goes down, so no Demo Man here for the red side, but with Dingus over the top and the help of Wish, yeah, they're just going to be bullied out here. Velocity just did not have a good push. As Dingus going all the way back, trying to get Skis back at spawn, gets cleaned up there by Corsa, but really nice job out of Faint Gaming. They're taking their time across the point, and Velocity, a little bit of a curious push coming everybody out of Shutter.
Yeah, this is, we'll see what's going to actually end up happening over on ramp side. Skis gets knocked down by Watterson, so good start for him. If he's going to get hot, that's the way to go. Jumping over the top is Jarrett. He does force Alto off, so job well done there. The good thing for Faint Gaming is the fact that, Skis did go down, so it's kind of like a free Uber. It would have been nicer to hold it, of course. That was a nice shot by Watterson with the 180 onto Vipa.
Yeah, nice job so far. Faint Gaming looking very strong. This is the map that they almost beat Froyo Tech in earlier in the season. I'm kind of surprised they didn't choose this against Froyo Tech in their first round of playoffs, but currently they hold on to a 1-minute lead and about even Ubers, as Bobby's trying to peek himself over here. Dingus getting beaten up pretty bad on the lower side. Bobby jumping over the top, being pushed back by the Pyro, as 2 picks go down with Andrew on a 2K. Bull having to back up as he's the furthest one forward for his team, but still trying to hold ground. Slowly the point is going in the favor of Velocity, and it looks like Faint Gaming is going to opt to just kind of play this passively, as Andrew 4K right now just going off.
Yeah, I mean that's the scary kind of Andrew you can face. The good thing for Faint is Watterson seems to be doing not too bad, but I'm really interested to see how the sniper v sniper is going to develop as the match rolls on. See which one of the two continues to be dominant. But right now, Velocity just hanging out by the point, doing what they can. Dingus going to get absolutely denied. And no pressure on Velocity right now. Just keep your players alive. And Faint Gaming are sitting on 100%, but they're just not moving with it.
Yeah, they're maybe waiting for Dementa, who switched off from Heavy onto Spy, but he did get spotted out by Vipa, the other team's flex team class. And they're going to get an Uber trade out here, or actually just about even, popped at about the same time. The Demo Man, or Soldier, is going to go down. A little bit better position. I was going to say for Faint, but with Dingus going down there, and Andrew picking up a frag onto Demento on the backside, it's just Elto and Bull to be able to pop this out. Jarrett's going to catch him out. Beautiful pipe coming out of Jarrett there, taking down Elto, and just a little bit of a curious exchange. Maybe need to get the scout in there. I'm not quite sure. What did you see going wrong out of Faint's push?
Yeah, it just didn't seem like they were really coordinated. Without the scout too, you're really hampering yourself on an Uber. The Demo can do what he can, but Bull actually gets a pretty nice sticky onto Corsa. But it's not really a class that you want for just raw fragging power. You need the scout in there, or a heavy when you have one, to be able to charge forward and actually just get the frags. But walking forward onto the point is Faint Gaming. Velocity and Bobby and Jarrett all go down. Watterson hitting another headshot onto Skis, so maybe we're just going to be playing leapfrog in a sense between the two snipers. But good point take. Just everyone jumping over towards the ramp side and bullying out Velocity until they can grab the point.
I mean, that push really came down to Watterson. He used Girardi onto the enemy team. He actually got it onto 2 or 3 players, including the medic, and so that started to back them up. They started to play scared, and then Faint Gaming just walked in off of that free ground, got some picks off of that. As actually both teams trading out their soldiers here early on by Demento, though, is right behind the medic. He's going to go for the step, doesn't get it. It's going to just go for Andrew, picks up that frag as Uber comes out into Wish. He picks up 1, 2, as Demento picks up another one. Skis all the way going back to spawn, gets taken out. It's just 2 left alive here, as Corsa is behind the enemy team, but he's not going to be able to pick up Alto, as they're going to hold on here and continue to get back into that front line. And Faint Gaming looking back into form, like they looked against VoxDei, and already my prediction of VoxDei is not looking good so far. As Faint Gaming, nice job there using their advantage.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the kind of Uber that you're looking for, too, with the Scout. And Wish is a really good Scout, too. So, Watterson, he got skis again. This is not good for Velocity. I mean, they do get the point, and maybe we'll see if Faint lose some numbers when trying to get on it, but they're doing a pretty good job. Wish charging forward. He should be able to pick up Andrew. Actually, decides to leave him alone and go cap. So I think Faint should come down with this point, but Skis is really struggling against the enemy sniper, but Alto did go down during that fight as well to Bobby.
Yeah, and Corsa single-handedly slowed down that point, earning his team at least another 10 seconds out of that. And so this is actually going to be pretty easy for Velocity to re-push this if they want to. They currently have a 3-man advantage because of the slow respawns once Faint Gaming did capture this. So if this round is won, it's going to be off the back of Corsa, as Velocity is taking positioning right now. They pick up one onto Dingus, who actually got put onto a 19-second respawn, but gets switched down to a 10-second once the point did get lost. And it looks like Faint Gaming is opting to push from the balcony side, but Bull overexposed with the help of a body shot from Andrew, I believe that was. Ultimately got taken down by Carl. And so Demento is going to get himself in position behind the enemy team, as we'll see what he can do or how Faint Gaming wants to do this, but with only 30 seconds left, there's not a lot of time for Faint Gaming to work with.
Yeah, and we'll see what they elect to do. It looks like Bull's going to go in for the jump. He's got sticks, he's got pipes! Skis goes down, that's a drop. As Skis once said, I don't pop to silver players, but we're in the semifinals of RGL. This is a much better class of players, so you better start using those Ubers. Faint Gaming grabbed the point. I think they should come down with this one.
10 seconds left in the clock. The final respawns are coming up right now. They just got 5 respawns. 2 more are going to be coming up here. Jarrett's going to be running out to play pipe on the backside. He gets taken out. Jarrett gets on, but he gets instantly backstabbed, as that incredibly tight round goes in the favor of Faint Gaming. Only 3 seconds left on the clock. Now it's potentially Velocity's game, and so far Faint Gaming looking very strong here out on that first round.
Yeah, those are some heroics by Bull, just getting the perfect sticks onto Skis for the drop. Skis really had no chance in that one anyway, but Watterson's going to start things off with the headshot onto Bobby. Carl goes down with the backstab, so the pit class is doing work. Demento also got Jarrett. It looked like he cratered or killed himself, maybe with his own pipe, something like that. But Faint Gaming just going out and winning another mid.
Yeah, just really nice job. That was Demento actually picking up a 2K there. You got the backstab on Carl, and then as you said, he actually butter knifed Jarrett, and then Jarrett actually ended up killing himself using just being so close range. And actually, Wish gets just a far range kill onto Andrew, who's so incredibly low. So another no sniper to help push this here for another 5 seconds, plus the walk to the front line. So Faint Gaming sitting a little bit comfortably as Demento still up on Spy. He's been feeling very comfortable and effective on that since starting out on heavy, as he's going to get called out there by Carl. Velocity working themselves up there as Corsa going for a flank play with the help of the soldier, as the soldier gets taken out. Nice job out of Faint being able to protect that, as Velocity, I like the suicide wave chance, but Faint Gaming just a little bit better at defending it. Yeah,
and right now, Velocity really need to try to group up and figure out what they're going to do. Andrew is going to be over onto the ramp side, see if he got a cheeky shot, maybe a drop onto Alto, but nothing being found just yet. Uber is going to get used to try to block this point. Just cleaning up so far, but he does get taken down when the flash comes off of him. Andrew is still peeking over, and he's going to get the body shot onto Alto. Corsa is going to defend his medic and sniper as well. So good job out of him as Andrew gets the headshot onto Watterson. This is Velocity's point for sure.
It would definitely seem like it. They're walking out on there, just Dingus forward. Actually, here comes a pyro on the flank. He's going to go for it, but it's not as strong as it used to be. He's going to get onto Skis, but not enough to do anything, as Wish is pushing forward himself. He gets taken down as well. The point goes in favor of VoxDei fairly easily, as Vipa now is on to Spy, so some class switching up from each team. And we'll see if the Spy play works as effectively as it has been for Faint Gaming. As it looks like Faint's trying to go out from the balcony side as they lose one early and make that 2, as Vipa is getting himself into position behind the enemy team, doing a long run up as Uber comes out onto Corsa from underneath. Vipa gets called out there as a soldier. Delman jumping over the top. Alto is actually able to keep himself alive with the help of Bull, but finally does go down to the help of Bobby. Corsa picking up 1, gonna back out, just keep his life. And a nice job out of Velocity, really good job using that Uber advantage, getting the frags, and getting out alive. That's the important part there, is they got the medic, and then they kept their lives, and so they're going to hold on to this point for that much longer, and honestly, they're probably going to take the lead here in another 30 seconds.
Yeah, what's pretty crazy is I don't feel like Feint have done too bad of a job keeping Andrew down, but even in like the moments that he lives, he just racks up kills on kills. But Feint Gaming are going to take this point right now. It looks like they're so close to getting it. They just need to commit a little bit more, and with the numbers on Velocity falling apart, the health on Feint Gaming is awful, but the fact that they're just staying alive, even with just a little bit, and cleaning up those frags, that's going to allow Alto to build up that Uber super quickly as well. I mean, how did that happen? They just walked on point and Velocity let them have it, and then kind of just let go of their keyboards as Feint Gaming rolled over them.
I mean, it kind of reminds me of Froyotech, is just they'll just win fights by not necessarily just by having better heals when they're pushing, and then just having a little bit better focus fire. It's just a nice job out of Feint Gaming. Being able to work off of that is, here we go, Velocity's trying to push forward with the scout and downland across the point, but the Uber charge is coming out. Skis is going to have to back up. Wish is seeking onto him, as well as Jared taking both of them down. Just 3 players left alive, and Elto might get caught out here by the surprise Carl, but no, he's going to get caught out there. Actually, Elto gets taken out. How do you not protect about that? Or how does Elto not run around the corner? All he had to do was just keep running around the corner. Obviously his team should have protected him, but still he had a lifeline, and it's called a wall, as Wish picks up a 1v1 against Corsa, keeping his full health. But either way, Feint Gaming 7 players up with 25 seconds left. Skis is not going to have Uber charge in time, so this is still looking very good for
Yeah, and
Feint.
it's kind of like what you mentioned in the pregame. Alto has that trouble of aggressing too much, and I think he just expected Carl to die, and maybe they should have gotten it, but you gotta also just be cognizant of what's the outcome is actually. But Bull's gonna take down Vipa. Carl goes down as well as Jarrett. Watterson is the only trade right now, and with no time on the point, Feint Gaming managed to take the second round, so they're up an early 2-0.
And this is going to be match point. These are first to 3, best of 5 series, so this is everything for Feint Gaming. If they win this, that's going to really buoy them as they go throughout this. As Bull once again going out here early, as Velocity is going out for the shutter. Bull didn't sticky trap that early on. I think maybe he thought they'd go a different route, as that ended up working against them, as Feint Gaming just being decimated here early on. Demento's going to get 1 stab, but it's not really going to be for much, as he's going to ultimately get taken down. Alto got killed as well in the back lines, and so Skis is going to hold on to a nice Uber advantage, and this is exactly the start that Velocity wanted to have for this round.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first step on the reverse sweep onto this round. Just a very excellent mid. Feint Gaming had nothing coming into that one, but Wish is going to start things off with the frag onto Corsa, which is important with the amount of work Corsa's been putting in, and Watterson gets Alto. Skis goes down to Wish as well. Wish, I think, has been the best player on Feint so far. His medic picks have been great. He's been getting harassment on Andrew when others people are not able to. Regardless of what happens, I think Wish has really been a thorn in Velocity's side, and they need to think about that when going into product next.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see how they want to try to adjust this, but right now they got to figure out how do they want to push this. They're down about 60% advantage, and here comes in Dingus from behind, getting a lot of damage on the enemy team, but nobody's there to clean up with them. Actually, but as I say that, Velocity, I just looked down, and they have so few numbers. DM's running down his skates, just Corsa left alive. He does pick up 1 frag, but he's down so incredibly low. Finally does go down. That's a wipe with a couple respawns coming out as I didn't even see what happened there. I looked to my left and looked to my right, and suddenly everybody on Velocity's dead. Did you see what happened to them?
I think what happened is they all just hit tilde and typed kill into console. I don't think there's any other way that Feint Gaming could have cleaned up so quickly. It was just an absolute massacre. But Velocity just trying to get a way back into this. They're already behind two rounds and behind on time in this one. Uber advantage still well in favor of Feint Gaming. Velocity probably not too scared to push without the Uber and just either try to force or bait it out. And that looks like what they're going to try to do. Vipa and Corsa are down. Uber gets forced by Bobby jumping over the top. They're not going to find anything with this.
Oh no, the Witch! Wish he gets it. He got actually, I believe it was Jarrett who popped up a sticky, launched him up, and so Wish surfed it all the way to the enemy's bats and was able to pick up the kill there. Beautiful job. And that's going to allow Feint Gaming to continue this Uber advantage.
I don't know why he made me eat those words. I feel bad for Skis and the rest of Velocity, but again, it just solidifies why Wish is just having such a great map. Waterson's going to go on a 5k as he picks up Vipa, capping the point, but that's the important part is Velocity do cap the point. Feint immediately want to reaggress with the Uber advantage. They don't have to use so far, and Alto might be able to get during the fight, but I think Velocity are going to sense that they don't really have a chance in this one, but Andrew's going to rock the headshot onto Alto as Wish yet again takes down Skis. I can't wait to see those post-game stats on the medic death. So everything even in terms of medics, and it's just going to be the fragging classes themselves duking it out on point.
Just so far, just so dominant. Feint Gaming looking so good. Vipa is actually trying to get a butter knife onto Demento. Finally gets traded out. Bull on a 5k. Ends up doing a little taunt on point there, being a little bit cheeky, but you earned that when you are doing this well. Only 30 seconds left on the clock. Velocity, if they want to get anything out of this map, they need to pick up an early pick. Vipa, I'm sorry, that's Andrew picking up an early frag here. Is Dingus going for the mech? Ski's going down so low, he gets the pick, and only 5 players up for Velocity. It's a 5v5 fight, but Feint Gaming do have the medic advantage.
And I want Alto, you got to play safe here. He's forward on point, but I think they just need to make sure that he stays alive. Wait for your numbers to come back in. That's Wish and Dingus who are on the respawn right now. And as long as Alto stays alive, this is over. And I don't think Velocity really showing up too much, but actually jumping down the point is Bobby. Corsa doing some damage as well. It's going back and forth, but bullying off of point is Feint Gaming. Carl's trying to get there, but BM with the air blast. And I mean, a 3-0?
A 3-0. Well, if you want to talk about eating words, that's what Feint Gaming just did to me. This is their best map. It shows why they almost beat Freitag on this map alone, and they looked so incredibly strong here. Velocity just, I mean, it's not even like they played that poorly, but it was just so much that Feint Gaming was so consistently able, one, to shut down Andrew, and two, to be able to kill Skis so much. I mean, there's only so well you can play if you don't get your medics Ubers off.
Oh man, and I've already pulled up the stats. Wish 6 medic picks in that game. That's just brutal when it comes down to it. Skis is going to go down 14 times, and almost half of them are to the scout. Watterson picked up 3 in there. Alto died almost half as much as Skis, which I think is really the telling stat, like you said, when you can't get those Ubers off. So Alto, a medic known for being a little bit maybe too aggressive, but Skis just struggling on that map, and it just seems like Velocity didn't have a game plan coming into this one. Maybe thought that it was going to be a little bit more easy to rely on their DM, and then just getting shocked by Feint Gaming as they take a 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, looking through these stats, I mean, the other underperformers, I mean, we talked about it before, but when Jared does not step up for his team, or at least when he actually has decent damage numbers, not as good as Bulls, but it's kind of hard to, match the enemy team when you're playing down, but I guess he didn't do that bad. His damage numbers are up, and that's what the important thing is for the demos. It's not about your frags, it's about creating it, but the thing is that he has, the second most damage in the server, and he has he's second to the bottom in terms of frags, and he only has 2 assists. And so what that tells me is that no one's following up on his damage. Like, he's doing a decent amount of damage, but if your teammates are not there forward with you to follow up on it, or you're not securing it yourself, that damage really doesn't mean anything, because that just means you can out heal it. So just Jarrett not really doing everything he can, and I mean, besides that, the teams are stepping up to the plate, doing a good job. Feint Gaming, I mean, really up there. And Andrew, I mean, despite not, I didn't feel like we were speaking Andrew's name too much. I feel like he's getting picks, but he wasn't getting key picks,
Yeah, I mean, he had a few moments where, he had that one, nutty 4K when they were just walking over onto point, or, there were a few nice shots here and there onto Alto things like that. So he gets 22 frags, and maybe some of them had impact, but for the most part, wasn't able to keep up. But it's also hard to snipe on a map like Coal Plant whenever your team isn't doing well. Product is going to be a little bit more forgiving with that, as long as they hold any map control. Velocity should be able to keep Andrew alive and allow him to do some more work. But on Coal Plant, those sightlines are a little bit more difficult to get into unless your entire team is already fighting for the point, and that's when you can get those really aggressive sightlines. And that's really only where we saw Andrew excel, was when Velocity already had the positioning.
Yeah, I'm very curious on this map to see how Feint Gaming is going to be able to do it, because, again, last map, it's a map where you can just walk across the point. You can get flanked so easily. That's why Skis was going down so much. But this is a map where, heavy is going to be a lot more valuable, because it's just so much easy to spam from behind rock, from up on cliff. You can do just so much work. And so I'm kind of curious to see how much better Velocity plays on this. And I'm kind of curious. I'm trying to see if we're getting our pick bands ready for the next. And we are live in our pick bands. So let's jump over to pick bands for product.
I got to pull them back up, so you start off.
And so Feint Gaming, they're the away team for this map, as this is the map chosen by Velocity. As expected, the Big Earner and Flog are going to be the first two bands. As I said, I think that's what Velocity is going to go after the entire night. I think Feint Gaming is definitely going to take down the Razorback all night long as well. Though the Gunslinger being banned out here early on by Feint Gaming, which is a little bit of a mix-up, because that's the weapon we saw Velocity save. So Feint Gaming, realizing this, opting to ban it out right away. As we get into the saves here, and I think we're going to see Degreaser and probably Scorch Shot saved out of Feint Gaming, just to kind of protect BM, be able to help out with that. I'm kind of curious to see what Velocity is going to go with their second save here.
Yeah, I think I don't really know exactly what you can do. Wish dominated and Watterson dominated. Other than that, I mean, maybe I didn't see what secondary Wish was running, if that really even came into play. But it's a difficult one whenever the scout and the sniper are playing super well. As long as you have the scatter gun and the sniper rifle, you're probably doing just fine for yourself. So it's a tough call to make. Maybe they go after Demento, or sorry, if they get something to go after Demento, but instead they save the Tomislav, which I think is smart. Carl can do a lot of work. There are a lot of cheeky corners to hide behind, and actually, instead of Scorch Shot getting saved, it's the flare gun, but still in the same vein, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, the upside of the flare guns allows you to get that little bit of bonus damage, so you don't puff and shoot, and it works out really well for you. I talked before about potentially getting the Tomislav banned, just because, Carl's going to be run full-time. That's Tomislav is a very powerful weapon in its own respect, to be able to have that silent run-up and stuff like that. And so the Tomislav being safe, so that's a little bit of a mix-up for Velocity. The Deadringer being banned from Velocity as well, so just trying to gimp Demento that much more, take away his ability to be able to kind of poke and prod, as the Sandwich wants to get going down. As I said, I think the bans were going to probably be pretty close to each other. The biggest one we're seeing a difference of is a Gunslinger being removed from Velocity's arsenal, the Scorch Shot going down, and I'm kind of curious, what would you have the final ban be here if you're Feint Gaming?
I think you gotta go Wrangler again. Just don't leave anything to chance. It's still possible. Viper might try to build a level 3, and I don't think you really want to give him opportunity to do something. They went for the ban of it last time around, and I think it's smart to try it again. Otherwise, you could try to limit Corsa. His impact maybe wasn't as much of Wish, but he still put in some work, and actually the stick sandwich, so I think kind of just messing around just a little bit, unless Carl did run that instead of the sandwich. But at the same time, like you said, you can still run the second banana, you can run the chocolate bar, so there's still options, even though those two get banned.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of a curious choice, but maybe they just couldn't quite think of anything they really wanted to take away from the game. But that is our ban list for product. But any kind of favorites here? I mean, we kind of saw a lot of these bans from last time. Do you think these teams mixed it up enough? Is there anything that you would have liked to see Velocity change up after losing so heavily in the first round?
I think still it's very difficult to go after and attack the sniper and scout with bans. I think you need to focus more on what classes you can run in order to try to stop them. You know, maybe you run a pyro more so you can try to just kill the scout's movement when he tries to go for your medic. You know, maybe that's an option with the degreaser being saved. Of course, Vipa could switch over to Pyro and help out medic that way. I think engineer is the other option. You are going to have the Wrangler this time, so your guns can stay up, and that's a really surefire way to stop a scout from pushing if you just have a passive mini sentry, or sorry, well, a level 1 sentry behind the point. So I think the key for velocity is limiting wishes damage in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that'll play a part into it. I mean, I think the biggest thing to me is just is limiting wish, but ultimately just keeping skis alive, which I think they're going to do a lot better job about. One of the weapons I think they could have gotten banned is the Girardi. That's something that Watterson used very effectively. He was able to pre-fire it before pushes. It was really synced up with Main Gaming versus. I don't know if Andrew was running into Girardi, but I don't think I ever saw the enemy team taken down in that way. So if this does go into Upward, if this does go to a third map, I think that's maybe something Velocity wants to think about banning, taking away, just because it seems it's like one of those things where it's like if you're not using it, if you can't find a use of it, maybe take it away from the enemy team, mix up the strategy that way, because it seemed to work out pretty well for Feint Gaming. But coming into this map, we have obviously these teams are taking a chance to talk things over. This is it. This is a single elimination. This is, the winner goes on to the grand finals. The loser is done. I mean, they do walk away with some money, but obviously you want to walk away with some more money. We are live in 90 seconds. So I would say, VoxDei, my boy, what would you give on this map? Obviously, you predicted correctly, at least, that Feint would win, though not the number. Do you think Feint's going to do a clean sweep here in the semifinals?
I think Velocity are going to come out stronger on this map. I think it's going to allow Andrew to get going a little bit more. And I think also Velocity are going to be more comfortable on this map. So I think this one's going to go the distance. I want to say maybe a 3-1 in Velocity's favor, and then we find ourselves on Upward. But, I mean, Feint Gaming surprised us before. So, I mean, that's a little bit of a cop-out. But I'm feeling Velocity on this one.
Yeah, I think Velocity... I predicted Velocity last time and I was wrong, but I feel like they're going to win it here, and I just think it's just purely going to be out of the play. This is Andrew's map. Andrew's so phenomenally good at it. Carl is just such a good heavy, and I think those two pieces are so critical for Product as a map that it's really just going to work out in their favor. I think if Demento has a good game, if Watterson's able to keep up, they might have a chance. But they're not going to be able to rely as much on Wish and Dingus to be able to do this. But either way, it doesn't matter what our predictions are. Only thing that matters is what's going to happen in the game. As we get started up in the first round, Velocity is going to be out on red, Feint Gaming out on blue. As we get started up here, Feint Gaming currently up 1-0 in the best of 3 map series. And looks like it's going to be Feint Gaming coming out on the Cliff side. A little bit of back and forth, but no team really opting to go too aggressive early on here.
Yeah, well, good start from Demento getting down Andrew. That's going to allow Watterson to get a more aggressive sightline. BM goes down as well as Wish and Demento, so Velocity don't really care about their sniper. They're just going to walk forward and put a lot of damage, and Carl, with that Tomislav, cleans up a good amount of it. Alto needs to try to stay alive. He's going to back out all the way with Watterson and use that passive regen to get healed up, but good mid from Velocity, and hopefully for them, signs of things to come.
Yeah, I think that, really came down to Carl just being able to defend against the point, It was able to just do so much damage as Feint Gaming tried to walk across because they didn't have a sniper, as Demento once again gets the pick. And actually the force comes off. Jared went down incredibly low. It's going to be an exchange a little bit better for the blue side, about actually 50%. Level 1 Sentry Gun should go down here pretty early on this fight, as Feint Gaming will come down with this point pretty easily, as Dingus, actually Carl and Jared get Girardi'd, and they should be going down. Jared's able just barely to be able to get out with the arrow as well as a med pack to get himself fully healed up, but a solid push out of Feint.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good take. The fact that they were able to use their Uber just slightly after Velocities with that force off, so feeling good about getting the point. Andrew's going to take down one, that's Wish, and Watterson trades him out. So now we get to see how Feint are going to do. Waterson gets the body shot onto Skis. And Demento cleaning up the Girardi with 2 revolver kills. But after that, Corsa's going to go on a little bit of a tear, get a few down, but Velocity have lost their numbers, and I think at this point, it's time to die or get out.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, and this is, again, coming off of the back line of the Girardi throw by Waterson. Twice there, they won fights because of the Girardi, and part of the reason the Girardi works so well for Feint Gaming is because they're running a spy, so you have someone who can help clean up, like in that circumstance. You also have someone who can give calls. You can tell who is Girardi, because that's not necessarily something you can always see. As Vipa on spy, he got accidentally caught out there, and Waterson taking down a nice shot onto Corsa. A couple early picks here for Feint Gaming, though only up 1 right now, but yeah, Andrew's trying to find a snipe, but Bull's doing a good job pulling him out, and Feint Gaming, early start is Demento cleaning up that frag.
Demento has been really great this map. Whenever they played this against Froyo, I think it was, he really struggled to get going. That's kind of what you were alluding to when, you know, he was just kind of mistiming all of his attempts to get picks. But right now, his #1 focus is getting down Andrew, and it's working perfectly. That Razorback ban has been awesome for Feint Gaming, and it's really allowed them to push forward and do crazy things without the fear of getting just shot in the head as soon as they cross the point. But now Velocity want to try to regress. Carl is going to take down Demento, and Dingus gets picked up as well, but Uber gets used across the point for either side, and we'll see what ends up happening. Alto is alone, though, and he's backing off the cliff.
Yeah, they push Wish all the way forward. They got the exchange in. Actually, Wish was trying to get a kill onto Andrew, but was not able to pick it up, and so now they have a 2-man advantage. Bobby getting a lot of damage on Elto, though he's able to surf it away. Of course, and Carl going to try to clean it up. Elto's just barely going to escape with his life, and about 20% Uber charge, and so that's going to keep it just about even, as Vipa is doing a lot of class switching now onto Pyro, though he does get taken out there in the 1v1 against BM, a little trash talk coming out, and Bobby is actually hiding down on cliff. No one's spotted him yet, but with the enemy team coming out there, man, I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. Here comes in the bomb in. He's going to see the medic into the closet, but no! Elto is able to keep his life, and now they have a 2-man advantage.
Yeah, this is absolutely awesome. Bull getting a nice pipe onto, I think he was the one that took down Carl, and then Bobby got picked up, and Velocity have no other choice but to back off and give Feint the point. They already have a minute advantage on it. It's just ticking away as Andrew's sent back to a 10-second respawn. Aggressive on the cliff right now. This can either be great from Feint, they could win it here, or they could get absolutely destroyed, and I think it's going to work out in their favor, especially because he's forced to force off his keeper. But Feint Gamer are going to use theirs in return, and it's looking better for them right now.
And the big reason is Skis had to pop that early. Nice headshot of Andrew as Bobby's going across. He's going to get Bull as well. 3 seconds left on the clock. Andrew will be able to capture this point as they have enough players left to light. So Skis gets taken out in the back with the backstab. In the backfield as Demento does a 1-2 punch there. Backstab and then pistols down Carl, as now you can see Corsa is not getting this point right away. He's waiting for his medics to get back up on the short respawn. Smart play as actually Corsa goes down though from the flare of BM. And so with them, they have to defend this for 1 minute and 30 seconds, and that is definitely going to be tough here. But they are even Ubers, that's the thing they can rest on. But they'll see what they want to do, but they have to play perfectly the rest of the way.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough ask. Feint Gaming have been great when they want the point back, and Andrew's already going to get taken down. Corsa's on the respawn. Oh, Demento gets the backstab on his Skis, but after that, Jared gets a couple back, including Alto. I think this point might go the way of Feint just because of the sheer numbers, but that was some crazy back-to-back medic dying action.
This is the Demento I know and love. That was a beautiful jump down step. He was up on cliff, jumped and did a little surf perfectly into the back of Skis, was able to get that and allowed Feint Gaming to start to walk across point, get those early picks and damage done. Currently, Feint Gaming has yet to drop a round this entire time as Dingus goes in for an early bomb in, but Vipa, who is now off of Spy onto Pyro, is able to anticipate that, goes up on the cliff to be able to defend this, but that's Feint Gaming walking across the point. A lot of fighting going off as Bull goes down, so this is not looking good for Feint right now. They lose one more. Waterson's going to get traded out as well. Alto running for his life all the way back to spawn. Bobby is trying to chase him, but he's able to escape with it. And about 60% Uber advantage, they will be able to trade Uber push here not too long from now. But this is exactly what happened last time. Feint Gaming had a terrible mid-fight, but they were able to win the round. We'll see if they can do it again.
Yeah, I mean, Velocity already taking a really aggressive stance. Dingus coming in from behind. He gets one, that's Andrew, but Alto gets taken up by Bobby in return. Skis is going to survive so far, and has to pop off his Uber to do so. Again, because Alto is dead, though, it's almost like a free Uber. BM trying to get what he can, and it's just kind of suicide. Just a very, very weird suicide wave out of Feint, just one by one trying to Iron Man it. Not going to work out too much, but...
Well, the thing is, they did get Jarrett, as actually Vipa goes in for the flank play. Who needs to be a spy when he can just be a pyro from behind? Gets the frag, as Skis is at 1v1 against Demento. On the point, Skis going down incredibly low. If anybody can do it, yes, it's going to be Bull who actually ends up finding that. And actually, Feint Gaming, somehow, some way, a little ring around the rosy, is able to pick up the point, and as Wish goes all the way forward and finds Andrew once again, Wish has just been so on point, finding Andrew at opportune times, and really, that should not have been Feint's point. Velocity, I'm really not sure what happened there.
Yeah, I mean, you could kind of say that for the entire match. I just don't know what Velocity is doing right now. They're allowing themselves to get bullied completely by Feint, as Wish gets that a little 2K, 3K rather, as 4K rather, as he cleans up Skis. Carl Bobby, just an amazing work out of him, and proving why he continues to be just an absolute beast for this roster. So point slightly just about to go in favor of Feint in terms of the time. Uber advantage well into their favor, so might see a sack wave coming out of Velocity, send Jarrett and Bobby in for the bomb.
And Demento is getting himself right behind Andrew, but Vipa is playing up on Andrew. They are so annoyed at Demento getting picked that they're literally playing their pyro next to their sniper. Who needs to protect their medic when you need to protect your sniper? Uber does come out here from Bull, gets popped up here early on, trying to find some frags, some damage, but not really finding too much. Now Vipa is actually going to disconnect. Great job out of Vipa, really key in his positioning, as Velocity is just going to roll up here. Alto now out of position. He should get traded out, but BM doing a good job of protecting his medic. Corsa going all the way back, but no, Wish is going to be able to do just enough to keep his medic alive. Wow, Wish is just stepping up this game with so many players down for Velocity, who tried a suicide for Alto. And Skis, I believe, might have went down in that exchange. I'm not exactly sure. But Feint Gaming is just going to be able to walk forward off of that.
Yeah, they look so good. They look so coordinated in this one. And you know, I mentioned it in the first map. Velocity, I feel like, came out here just thinking they could rely on their DM, but Feint have come with a strategy, and they're doing a great job in putting it into play. Every mistake that Velocity has made has pretty much been capitalized on by Feint, because they're recognizing what's happening as Watterson gets the body shot onto Skis to take him down yet again. Corsa goes down 2 in return, though, so it's the 5v5, but the big one being Skis, who's just respawning right now. Point starting to get baited by Velocity, as Wish goes on a little 2K, picks up 3 in that one, actually, and a 5K as it gets Andrew, but Alto is the casualty to note on the Feint side.
Now Watterson should go down here. Corsa's not fully pushing into him. That's because BM's in the ranks to be able to defend against it. Dingus is eyeing himself from that concrete side. He wants to make a bomb on to Skis, but he's waiting for it to call. Actually, he's waiting for Demento. This is a lot of patience, but probably will work out in his favor. Going for probably a spy soldier play, as no one from Velocity has played in concrete. Demento is getting himself into position, and we'll see what Dingus wants to do. Here he goes in. He's doing the spam in as we get to our first pause of the game.
Yeah, when it's almost a good chunk of TF2 without the pause. No, we got through further than you'd expect, but it's you always expect a pause to come in at one point. But just taking a look at Velocity's positioning, I think they have a good chance to maybe try and grab this. Alto doesn't have Uber right now, and he's gonna, I think, is that a stick at his feet, or, oh, it's an Iron Bomber, so that roller might actually tag him in just a little bit, and he's already down onto 90. So Alto is going to be in a bit of trouble, and you can see pretty much every player besides Andrew on Velocity are ready to pounce onto the point. Feint Gaming not really in as well a position to try to defend it, so it looks like this next... Oh, sorry, the point's already in Velocity's favor, but they have a good chance of cleaning up Feint on this one.
Yeah, I mean, they're looking very good right now, or at least they have a chance. But this is what I love is, like, Dingus, he never really revealed himself, and so now this is, you can see how, as you said, Velocity, they're all grouped up right there. Demento's getting himself into position. Yeah, I mean, this is looking very good for them, and I think I would not be surprised to see Demento get a pick off of this play, just of how well he's lined himself up there. As looks like they're just taking a little bit of time here. It seems nothing to be going too wrong, so just I think a little bit of a timeout to figure some stuff out. But I mean, we can just talk about this game as a whole. Coming in here, I mean, I definitely had low expectations after seeing how Faint Gaming, they seemed lost their mojo, against the game in Froyotech. They struggled really heavily on product, and they just never, they're such an intelligent team. Like, they have really good DM, but they don't have like the best DM in the world. But the thing they do well is they do well with their classes, and they work off their classes really well. And it seems that today they really have started to figure it out, and really have done just such a good job with that. I mean, what are you seeing out of Faint Gaming that has just propelled them to be so excellent so far?
Yeah, I mean, I've mentioned it a few times throughout the cast, but I guess we have a little bit more time to break it down. They've looked so solid as a unit. Wish has continued to do really well as Watterson, but it's not just relying on these two guys to make plays and all of a sudden they're in a position. Bowl is putting out good damage, and that allows Wish to clean up on. They're playing really well as a team, and I mean that's what it comes down to. Demento is continuing to get these clutch picks, and that was something that he struggled with against Froyotech. So now that he's kind of back on form, it's really taken velocity off their game. But I really think it has to do with the fact that they're just capitalizing on every little mistake Velocity make. Velocity plays forward and they lose two players, and then all of a sudden Faint Gaming has the point, and they're not letting it go. They're not making those mistakes, or when they do, they have those players that are able to basically bail them out a little bit. But it looks like we are on pause, so take it away, sigafoo.
Here we go. Demento's dropping in on his keys. He does get called out there, but that's allowing Faint Gaming to push up across the point. Jarrett's trying to get some damage forward. Actually, a lot of damage onto BM, but he's able to reflect all of the pipes away. Girardi, though, comes out on the back line as Jarrett goes down to Watterson. And Bobby goes down as well. Here comes out the Uber charge as Carl gets taken on the back line. Course is just chasing forward, but because they charged that Uber forward, they were able to get, actually, not enough, as Watterson currently on a 10K. We've been talking about him a lot. As Faint Gaming was able to come down with the point, but they lose it just as fast. But with both Ubers being used, you might just see a dry push come out here right away for Faint Gaming.
Yeah, and we've actually got velocity building. I don't see that very much in Prolander, but Demento is behind. He's going to get one. He gets Jarrett. He had an opportunity to go for skis, but he gets the guaranteed pick, and it works so well. Faint Gaming were in a prime position. As soon as Jarrett went down, there were no sticks, no pipes to deny the point. And, there's that coordination. Just Demento able to walk behind. He doesn't go for the hero play, right? He just gets the demo. That's all they needed. And then after that, the rest of his team just cleans up on the rest of Velocity. And now they've got 5 seconds, and they put themselves on match point.
Here we go, 2 early picks, make that 3. Jarrett going down so incredibly low, and Faint Gaming is 1 round away from putting themselves into the grand finals. What a Cinderella story it has been so far for Faint Gaming. They had a little bit of a falling out, but here they are, 1 match point away. They've yet to drop one all season, or all round today. I can't even speak, and I'm not thinking right, because Faint Gaming has just done so well so far this game, exceeding my expectations, but we'll see if they can close it out. It's all up to them now. Can Velocity, the perennial second place people, be able to do anything here? As we see Bobby going in for early bombing onto the cliffside. Wish doing a lot of damage onto Vipa, though Course is able to clean him up. 2 going down to no Andrew, no Carl, no Jarrett, and that's going to mean that's a point for Faint Gaming.
Yeah, and I think we'll get T-shirts for them. It'll say the perennial penultimate team, right? You get the little alliteration. You get to feel smart because they're big words and everything too. What do you think? RGL shop.rgl.gg next season?
I mean, why not? We got to make more money off of. We got to make some money. I'd say make more money off this league, but nobody's making money off of this league except for these players playing their heart out here tonight. As Velocity is starting to push up here, both teams at 100%. They're not wasting any time. Courses just getting a lot of cap time. Girardi comes out, but just in time for the Uber charge to be able to actually reflect it. Carl is going to get flashed as BM's pushing across, trying to get some coordination as BM's doing a lot of damage actually onto Jarrett, but they're able to take him out as bam! Bobby with a huge air shot taking him down. And Feint Gaming, they control the point, but probably not for long if Velocity want to push out onto this.
Yeah, and I think finally Waterston gets taken out. Vipa switched over to Spy and got the backstab, so I haven't seen Waterston die too much, and I think that's a smart off-class by Vipa. He's still going to be on Spy, so we might see him stick with it if Velocity are feeling comfortable, but that's the one good thing maybe in Velocity's favor is now they might have Feint paranoid that there could be a Spy, but that's when you can switch it off to Engineer or Pyro, and they won't be expecting it. But they are moving on to Cliff. Vipa is going to be calming that to his team, so it's going to allow Velocity to concentrate their firepower over that way. Gun actually going up over in main. Vipa is going to get the backstab onto Demento, so kind of an interesting switch up. You know, Demento was doing pretty well. It's kind of weird that he's switching off to Engineer.
Well, it's catching a little bit off ground. The gun just finally does get taken out as Feint Gaming is trying to use Bull to walk across the point. The Ubercharge is going to be used out 100% for each team, so it's going to be reflecting. Bull barely keeps his life as he's walking across here. Also has to make sure to keep it up. It's going to be much better as BM is doing a good job. Wish trying to clean up as well as BM's going all the way back to the back lines. He's getting Bull, but he finally does go down. But 3 players down. It's going to be a 5v4 fight in the favor of Feint Gaming as they do control the point. As Skis is a little bit out of position if Dingus sees it, so he's fairly low as well. Course is going to try to walk up across the point, going into against this, but I'm not sure if this is going to work out for them. Vipa decloaking right behind Elto, but I think Elto did hear it and is able to spot him as Feint Gaming continues to hold on to his point. Even Ubers, this incredibly tense round continues.
Yeah, and Velocity just walking forward onto point right now, putting some good damage forward. Wow, just cleaning up everyone who's forward. On the Feint side, they're going to have to back up, and this is the best we've seen Velocity all day. I hope it's not too late for their sake, because, you know, if they want to win this, they've got to win 3 rounds in a row and then take upward.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing for Velocity here is that they're not playing scared. They're playing so aggressively when they're losing the point where they're doing. They're just pushing in right away as Vipa actually gets the backstab onto Demento, who's on Spy as well. A little spy on spy regicide going on right there. As Bull's going to be pushing up to the point. Wish is putting down ×2 cap time. Is going to be forced to be reckoned with. As Ubercharge is going to come out for each team. Going to be a little bit better for the blue side. And so Velocity is going to have to reflect that as they did lose Carl here. So no Carl, no heavy here for this fight. And now the point's going down in the favor of Feint Gaming. And they're going to come down with it. And yeah, it's going to be pretty decent for them. But this post-Uber fight is really what's going to define this. Skis though gets taken out. Demento with the backstab. Jared goes down. Corsus on point trying to make a miracle play, but he gets taken out as well. And now it's just Vipa, and he might go for a 1v4 backstab, but it's not going to work out for him. There's just too many players looking for him. And he goes, Vipa's going to jump on point, but with only half HP, he easily gets cleaned up here. And too many miracle plays going on for Velocity. They got to go in. They can't go in one at a time in those situations.
Yeah, I mean, talking about a post-Uber fight and get the backstab and then Revolver just in cold blood takes down 2 more. Demento over back on Spy after playing on Engineer just a little bit, but he's back. They want to clear this out. They don't want to give Velocity any chance back into this one, but an aggressive push right now from Velocity. Waterston's going to go down as well as Bull and Dingus. Wish is going to get a couple back into the favor of Feint, but it's not going to mean too much. Demento gets a little consolation frag onto Andrew, but the long respawn might give Feint a chance to get forward, and that's what's going to happen. Uber being used across the point. Wish is already going to take down 1. That's Carl chasing forward. He wants to get Skis right now, and he's going to try. Alto's got to back up. You don't want to get caught as point starts to get capped by Feint.
Yeah, they are going to come down with this point. 25 seconds left in the clock. Everything's on the line for Velocity as this is match point that loses. They are out. They are going to be the 3rd place winners. Dingus, he wants to go for the air shot. He pops Skis up. He's going to be able to connect on that kill. And now they have the medic advantage as well as holding on to this point. 10 seconds left on the clock as it's going to be all up for Velocity. But with only Course support, this is not looking good. Carl's going to walk forward as well. We'll see what they can do. Starting to put time onto his BM is trying to back them back up. Bobby's going to be able to try to get a pay, but with ×2, will it be enough? Carl's going to potentially secure this point. And they're going to do just that. 41% currently in the hands of Feint Gaming. 50 seconds left in the clock. Plenty of time for them to work with. And we'll see what they can do as Demento's getting himself into position.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's really an important thing for Velocity now. they were almost out of it, but the just coming together as a team to be able to grab that point. But Watterson starts things off with a headshot onto Andrew Jamestown, and Cole and skis. Demento is a monster.
He is going absolutely ham right now. It's just Viper to Miracle. Miracle play, but it won't be it. Fake Gaming secure their ticket into the playoffs. The underdogs of the season have done it, overtaking Velocity Esports. The team, which is made up of just Highlander players, are going to be facing the Titans of TF2 in the grand finals. Clean sweep inside of the semi-final matchup. Who could have saw that going down tonight? Huge job as Fang Gaming are going to continue their hopes. What an immensely just impressive gameplay here. I'm just excited to look at those lines.
Oh, that was Demento. So Wish MVP of the first map. I'm giving it to Demento. I haven't even seen the stats yet, but how many times did we see him go in with a one or two backstabs and then follow it up with that revolver? Just like, the backstab, I don't want to say it's easy. I can't play Spy to save my life, but you get the instant frag. But then the fact that he's able to just aim the revolver and get just multiple shots to connect without getting taken out. I mean, this is 125 health class. Just great job from Demento for this entire map.
I mean, this is like, can I just make my joke and make every time? Did you know that Spy's the worst class in the game? Did you know that, VoxDei? Because he just top fragged in the semifinal match against one of the best teams in the country. Are you absolutely kidding me, Demento? You went absolutely ham that game. Just so fantastic. Getting the backstab at the right time, using the revolver, as you said. I mean, just unimpeded, just so good. A thorn in the sides of Velocity, really stepped to the plate. And, I trash talked him because he did not have a good game against Fire Tech. He did not play well. He did not play smart. But I said, I have a lot of respect for him. He's a fantastic spy, and he stepped up tonight. Top fragging spy. That's not something that I thought I would see inside of a top level, let alone a playoff invite game. But that is exactly what we saw here tonight. Corsa stepped in. We're kind of curious to see how well he would do with Shamuka. Both games, top frags for his team, did so second place this game just behind Demento. Wish following up with 21 as Watterson with 21 as well. So just all around, just good job by these. Big thing is Watterson he had the 10K that one round. He just wasn't being challenged. And that's the risk you run is if you don't run, a spy, you can potentially allow too much, you don't get enough pressure onto the enemy sniper, and you can potentially allow him to go off. And maybe that was the difference. I mean, Viper ultimately did go spy, but he just didn't look comfortable in it. Or, maybe it was just already at that time, you're already down. You lost 5 rounds straight. It's hard to get your head on straight. I think Velocity was a little bit tilted at that time.
Yeah, I think for sure that's the case. I mean, Watterson as well with seven assists, probably most of that from that Girardi. I don't think it was huge in there, but there were a couple of points where that Girardi just absolutely ruined Velocity. And I think that if you had gotten into Upward, that would have been a smart ban. I had that tucked in my pocket. I was like, oh, that's something I can talk about later. But one interesting thing just for assists is I don't know how Corsa ended up 22, 18, and 11. Where did those 18 assists come from? Milk? I don't know if those even give you assists off of it, but I mean, either way, just it doesn't mean anything in terms of the game. I'm just boggled by that stat.
Yeah, it is a little bit interesting. Though it's funny, I talk about the spy pressure. Vipa did kill Watterson 5 times, and Demento actually killed Andrew 6 times, so they're actually relatively close in that. But in the sniper v sniper, Watterson stepped up to the plate. Watterson was 5-1 over Andrew. So really, it was just honestly just brute force sniping that really got Watterson over that hurdle. And once again, Jarrett bottom fragging inside of this game. That's what we talked about is if Jarrett does not have a good game, it really seems to kind of reflect on everybody else. Or maybe it's just a symptom, of the team's not doing well. And so Jarrett just can't do well. Really not saying anybody's to blame, but just another thing is like when you see Jarrett at the bottom of the board, that's generally when Velocity is struggling. Bull with a 612 DPM, just going absolutely insane, almost 10k damage. The closest one to him was Dingus at 8,000. So really solid job out of those guys, and just really well-deserved game. I mean, you talked about it, but just like I just love it when you can see a team have great coordination. And you can just see them just have really good pushes working off their comms, and that's what you saw out of gaming tonight. This is the difference between these two teams is, one of these teams works off of all of the classes inside of TF2 well, and they work off of their communication really well, and you just saw that so consistently throughout the game.
Yeah, Faint came in here and really defied odds for sure. And I think part of why Velocity struggled is I don't think they expected that much of a fight put up by Faint as well. I mentioned it a couple times, but they probably just came in here fresh off of the HL playoffs, or grand final rather, where Carl just won his 6th, 7th in a row, something like that. And I wonder if there was maybe that complacency, that little it's we can come out here and just frag and DM because we are, we're gods in our own right. But then the little engine that could, one day the little brother grows up and he beats you up, and the whole dynamic shifts. But there's still dad Froyotech to beat next week, so we'll see. I don't know if I like this family beating analogy.
It's a strange one, but I either way, I mean, it does speak to it. Is that I do think it hits some points. Is I do think after the because it was also the thing is the game before Froyotech. That's when what's their team name inside of Highlander? I forget it off the top of my head.
Sorry, whose team?
Faint Gaming's.
Faint. So it's mostly Doris.
Yeah, Door. So Door, they lost. They were like they got the highest. They were first place instead of Highlander. They get knocked out in playoffs. I don't even know if they got knocked out in time. They might have got knocked out in 4th place of all places.
I believe so, yeah.
And so and then they go play Froyotech to get absolutely trounced. But having, I think that week in between and then coming into this game really seemed to work out well for them. So congratulations to Faint Gaming. Incredibly excited to see them inside of the grand finals. I believe that is going to be held on the 24th. Tuesday the 24th, though we're still locking down dates for that, but I'm incredibly excited to see what they do and what they do against such a great challenger.
Yeah, definitely Faint looked a little flat in that match against Froyotech, but hopefully they can bring the form that they had here, the form that they had early on in the season when they played. And I wonder if Coalplant might be the choice against Froyotech. When they come out during the map choices, because they play it really well. They had a great match against Froyotech early in the season on it, and we didn't get to see it in their in the best of 3 that they lost earlier in the playoffs. So good luck to Faint Gaming. I think you're definitely going to need it.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting showdown, but I'm looking forward to it. So congratulations to them. As we wrap it up here, any shout outs you want to give here, VoxDei?
Big shout out to both the teams. They really put on a show. Even though Velocity struggled in this one, they still had some really nice moments. Andrew especially tried to do what he can, and Corsa, of course. But big shout out to the teams. I always love to give.
Yeah, always good times. So guys, don't forget to give some love out here tonight. So who's always doing a lovely casting job behind the scenes, and make sure to toss out a heart in the chat. So thank you, everybody. If you are here still, don't forget to follow us on Twitch to make sure you get notified whenever we go live with these matches. As I said, you'll see definitely some hype going out for the grand finals, as we'll be announcing that and the exact date here coming up soon. Thank you, everybody, for coming out here tonight. Congratulations again to Faint Gaming for moving on into the grand finals against Froyotech in this upcoming week. I am sigafoo with VoxDei Nice on my side, and I hope you have a great rest of your night.